Good evening, and before we start the programme tonight, we'd like to welcome regular viewers of the new digital channel BBC 4. There they are. Thanks for coming. In the news this week, after an unscrupulous promoter announces a Kylie Minogue tour of Afghanistan, locals begin to think they may have been conned. In Westminster, one crucial protester fails to turn up at a demonstration against clowning. And in the Midlands, Vauxhall announces the recall of its latest model after the discovery of a minor design fault. On Ian Hislop's team is a comic actor whose most recent role was as the voice of the ITV digital monkey. That's the one in the adverts, not the one running the company. Ben Miller. And with Paul Merton tonight, a schoolgirl superstar who will be treated just like any other guest, but we would appreciate it if she could put her hand up before answering the questions. Charlotte Church. Round one looks at the major economic and socio-political issues of the moment, most weeks, but tonight...
That's the bedspread. That's practising. Eureka Johnson, who's got a book and a new television programme coming up.
Actually, I want to stick up for Ulrika. I mean, It's much his fault, but nobody has to go with him because he's captain of England.
What, do you think he's to blame, then?
I don't know. He's not fully to blame, of course. He's not fully to blame. But I think, I mean, of course, Ulrika does deserve some of the stick, but not all of it. I think everybody's too
How much stick do you think she deserves?
Weren't you involved in the story in some way?
It's one of the pictures I was rather hoping to see this week on the show.
Right.
The one of you and Ulrika watching football. Oh, there it is. What are you shouting there?
The thing that people, you know, shout at football matches like.
For heaven's sake, let's keep a low profile.
Who's nicked my teeth? You've got them in your hand.
Were you planning to go before Ulrika phoned that morning?
Yes, some months in advance it had been planned.
Excellent.
The two of you would just have an afternoon watching football.
Thousands do, Ian. It's quite a commonplace.
That's the bit of the story I couldn't believe.
Right. If I could take it into a slightly different area that doesn't involve me, when did Sven and Ulrika meet then? What's the history of
I don't know, we're asking you.
Yeah, you're at a football match with her. You know more about this than we do. We should be asking you the questions.
They met at a party thrown by Richard Desmond, and they were...
They did. It was obviously a very nice occasion, top pornographer's party. He doesn't like being referred to as a pornographer. He's the proprietor of the Daily Express, he owns OK, and he's a pornographer. And he had a lovely party, which, of course, the government spokesman attended, Alistair Campbell, as you would. If you're in charge of running the country, what better to do than go along to a porn party?
So how did the Daily Mail add to this debate this week?
Did they ask a question at the press conference?
They asked their readers, is Sven sexy? They did a poll of British women to find out whether... Is he sexy?
No! I shouldn't say this because you're all... But he's too old.
Everybody in the world's older than you, so...
I know, it's not hard, but...
No, but thank you for not saying that anyway.
It's all right, so where are we at?
Good idiot.
I mean, we're old enough to be your parents, admittedly, but he's old enough to be your grandfather, isn't he?
Yeah, precisely. That's the difference.
Yes, old enough to be Ulrika's grandfather.
Apparently it's all over the story, is it? It's finished now.
Yes, so you won't read any more about it in your papers. Yes, it is the romance between fellow Swedes Sven-Göran Eriksson and Ulrika Johnson. Suspicions were aroused when Ulrika's nanny overheard moaning coming from the bedroom and went to investigate, only to find the couple struggling to put up an IKEA bookcase. As Ulrika announced the end of the affair, the Mirror described a dinner date between Sven and his girlfriend Nancy. At the end of their meal, she leant seductively across the table towards him and then, striking a match, the dark-haired beauty lit his Monte Cristo. And if that doesn't teach him a lesson, nothing will. Ian and Ben, your foreign affairs.
That's Le Pen.
Yeah.
That's the reaction. That's some friends of Le Pen. And that's Chirac, celebrating his just less than 20%. Way ahead of the far-right Nazis' 17%.
Yes.
It was underneath the Sven
Yes,
story.
right, yeah.
Ulrika gives Sven ultimatum, page 1. Nazis take over Europe. Other news.
Yeah. Yes.
No, this is the French just being unbelievable. There's a wonderful demonstration by a lot of people about Charlotte's age. The schoolchildren took to the streets and they were asked, why have you come out to demonstrate? And they said, because our parents have demonstrated that they're cretins. So, there is a problem with the fact that Chirac is almost unelectable. Chirac has to get elected as president to keep out of jail. The other placard that people are carrying around is, vote for the crook, not the Nazi.
The Daily Telegraph contributed to the debate as to whether it could happen over here by saying, when people ask, could it happen here, the answer depends on what you mean by it and happen. What's some of Le Pen's extraordinary aspects of his history?
Well, Le Pen made his money by selling tapes of Nazi marching songs.
Well, he recorded them.
No, he got old recordings of them and sold them by mail order, saying...
K-Tel's greatest Nazi marching song.
Yeah. Now that's what I call the Horst Wessel song.
And who's been unveiled as a French singing starlet this week?
Oh, is this Ian Duncan Smith's sister?
Susan is her name.
Wasn't she, didn't she...
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I thought so. I just wanted to double-check that, because...
Although she never actually...
Didn't she?
No. She got to number 3 in the charts in France with a song called Why Is Everyone So Mad? Have you had many hits in France, Charlotte?
No, actually, I've only been there like a couple of times. I wasn't too impressed in them.
And are you bothered by racism over here? And people being rude about the Welsh, for example?
Yes.
On television programmes?
Yeah, on television programmes. Yeah. Yeah, completely.
Yeah, still, thank God, no one here is responsible for that kind of a programme.
Yeah.
This is the shock result in the French elections, where Jean-Marie Le Pen came second. Since the election, French demonstrators have come out on the streets in their thousands to protest against the fascists, something they singularly failed to do in 1940. Topical news quiz. Tony Blair said that Le Pen's rise should be a warning to Britain. What I would say to people apathetic about politics is it's important we respond to these stories in a clear way and they do not blah, 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 blah. Still Sven, eh? So, at the end of that round, the teams are like a pair of celebrity Swedes, as there's now nothing between them, being as it is 2-2. And so to the now serious world of the tabloids, as illustrated by such finely honed wordplay as Paul and Charlotte. Shakespeare.
This was a story about the... was it the Earl of Southampton?
He was apparently one of Shakespeare's kind of sponsors for his plays, but it was also depicted in a portrait as wearing an earring and lipstick, which has speculated rumours about Shakespeare's sexuality.
And the tabloid position is that Shakespeare, who wrote plays, obviously a bit of a woof.
We can have a look at the portrait now.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, look at the hands!
Yeah, you see,
it's so obvious!
Yeah.
And how did the Sun add to this debate this week?
Probably came up with sort of variations on Shakespeare plays with sort of very punny sort of titles.
Yep, Romeo and Juliet. A Midsummer Night's Dream. And All's Well That Bends Well. And
it was his birthday on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yes, not only birthday, but death day as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
he died on his birthday.
Really?
On
You wrote
St.
those
George.
plays in one day? He didn't know about it, did he? Straight out, born...
There are supposedly other signs of Shakespeare's sexual orientation.
Yep.
Apparently in King Lear, he's supposed to have said, "Who is it who can tell me who I am?"
That's stars in their eyes, isn't it? Oh, he didn't write that one, did he?
No. He's like Matthew, I'm going to be Edmund, Earl of Gloucester.
Have you done your English exam yet?
No, I'm doing it in like 4 weeks. I went to GCSEs and I'm dreading them. And we're doing Macbeth, actually.
Glamorous thou art in Cawdor, and shall be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature, it is too full of the milk of human kindness.
Oh, no, I'm going to never this in school.
And that's from someone who only got woodwork.
Yeah.
Metal work ungraded.
Was it?
It's quite amazing how you all know so much. I've got to commend you on just knowing about everything.
Well,
it's like you're like my bamper. My mummy's grandfather, kind of in Wales.
Yeah.
He just knows everything about not a lot, really.
Well, you know, I studied pig ignorance from 1972 to 1978.
Haven't you done the oral part of your English exam?
Yeah, I did.
Right.
And I did it on Pop Stars. no, not as in the series Pop Stars.
Right.
Yeah,
That's part of the English exam now.
Yeah, it is.
I think I'm going to kill myself.
What did you think of the big boy? Was it Rick, the one that was sort of like...
That's Pop Idol. I was slightly obsessed with Pop Idol. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I started to get into it towards the end. What about you, Ian? Who did you vote for? Who did you... Sir Stafford Cripps?
This is the suggestion that William Shakespeare might have been gay. According to one paper, the picture was originally thought to be Lady Norton, daughter of the Bishop of Winton, or Graham and Dale, as they prefer to be called. There are numerous hints that the bard was gay, littered throughout his plays, hence the line, "Is this a dagger I see before me, or art thou just pleased to see me?" Ian and Ben, your cryptic revolver, Moni Blair.
Is this the business of Tony Blair complaining about his portrayal in several newspapers with respect to the royal funeral? He wanted to welcome... Yeah, yeah. Had a little act worked out.
Yeah.
A few magic tricks, get in the coffin.
Yeah.
They were going to put swords in, and we were standing round there, all four of them.
And he's been rehearsing for years.
But he denied the story.
Yeah.
And he's made a complaint, hasn't he?
Yes, he's going to the Press Complaints Council. And, well, Alistair Campbell is. And it's basically a question of whether Alistair Campbell's number 3 to whatever, a woman called Sumner? She's called Sumner?
Yep.
She made a phone call to Black Rod. Hello, is that Black Rod? Yes.
My drains need clearing. You do a 24-hour call-out.
Black Rod says that she said Tony wanted to meet and greet at the door. Hello, lovely to see you. Terrible about her dying. When the royal family arrived. And Black Rod said no. And she said she never said anything of the sort. And it's basically, do you believe Lieutenant General Sir Michael Wilcox, or do you believe one of the spin doctors from Tony's government? Tough one.
And how else was Tony supposed to have shown disrespect at the funeral?
Farting.
No.
Really?
No, oddly not, no.
Must be something wrong with my telly. I thought it was a bit off.
He wore a black suit instead of tails. And who else has been attacking Tony this week?
Moni.
Yes. What's the name of her book?
It's called Momentum. Mo being her and mentum meaning nothing.
It should be called Mohair.
This is, of course, Tony Blair's appeal to the Press Complaints Commission. According to The Spectator, Mr Blair's request to Buckingham Palace for a more prominent part was assessed, considered, mulled over and then rejected. Although not necessarily in that order. Paul and Charlotte, your happy hook line. All one needs is love.
That's the thing about the Beatles song, the Queen starting it off to celebrate her Jubilee year or whatever, and she's starting singing. I don't know, is she going to be singing?
She's going to launch the song, certainly.
Fair enough.
And then each star is going to do one line each of the song, obviously. Are you taking part?
No, I wasn't asked.
That's a shame.
I know.
Probably got an exam that day anyway.
Yeah. Actually, I've got a. I'm just sorry because I completely turned this whole kind of game show around and talk about me, but oh well. I've got to start in the middle of my GCSEs and go over to America and sing for the president, which I find quite bizarre, actually. Yeah, so I think I've got to do history in another exam over in America. I just thought I'd tell you that
don't ask
fact.
his advice on the paper.
Actually, when I met him before, he asked me what state Wales was in. I was quite bemused as how to answer it.
And you said terrible.
Did you let on that you made an enormous gaffe?
No, because I thought, how can you answer that without offending the American president? He'd probably come over and bomb Britain or something. So I just kind of went, it's in Britain next to England, and I kind of walked away because I felt a bit stupid then. So I left it at
You
that.
felt stupid.
That's very magnanimous of you to feel stupid. The Queen is going to appear on a well-known children's programme. You read about this?
Blue Peter.
Blue Peter,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. She's going to...
Wow.
That'll be hilarious.
How to make a Prince Philip out of a washing up bottle.
So who are your favourite royals then, Charlotte?
I do actually like Prince Philip. I met him and he was really friendly, whereas the Queen was just kind of like, I don't know what to say to this kid, I want to get away as soon as possible. Not quite in
Did she
those
say
words.
that?
No. Oh, no, actually, she said, do you sing? She said to me, do you sing often? And I was like, yeah. And Prince Philip just kind of went, Elizabeth, don't you know who this young girl is? We hear her on Classic FM all the time. And I was like, yes.
So that's who listens to Classic FM. Often wondered. And why has the BBC been in the news this week?
It might be bidding for ITV Digital.
You were the voice of the monkey, weren't you?
I was the voice of the monkey, and it actually was in my contract that I would remain anonymous. Obviously, that hasn't worked out quite as well. I think it's a shame, because I think we should have... I mean, in all seriousness, I think we should have an alternative to Rupert Murdoch's cable and satellite business, and I think it's a shame
Read a book.
Yeah. Horse with the sword.
This is the BBC's plans for the Queen's Jubilee. According to the Daily Mirror, the Queen will launch the national sing-along from Slough. Hard to know what's more unlikely, the Queen starting a sing-along or setting foot in Slough. And finally, in this round, a Sama drama.
I know.
Right. You'd like to jump in?
Yes, it was drama students, and their drama teacher at the start of the lesson said that there would be some kind of false things in their lesson, but then she said that Osama bin Laden had dropped a nuclear bomb on Britain and therefore the world was going to end. And these students got in a real state apparently and started crying.
Perhaps they were just acting really well.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Because after they cried, they said, "How was I?"
Yeah.
What was the result of this? Did you read this?
God, no.
They got a day off.
Serious? I'll try it.
When told that the destruction of their town was only minutes away, many of the students were visibly distressed, although most took it quite calmly. Well, I suppose it was only Peterborough. The classroom was filled with crying and screaming after teachers announced that a nuclear bomb was heading straight for them, followed seconds later by the sound of the school caretaker grumbling, and I suppose it'll be me that has to clean up afterwards. Which explosive revelations mean at the end of this carnage, it's Paul and Charlotte who are positively glowing, ahead as they are, 8-4. And so to the familiar stench of our odd one out round, Ian and Ben, your supergroup comprises Tony Blair, Peter Frampton, Ariel Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne.
Is it a guitar question? Because Tony plays guitar, Peter Frampton, of course, very accomplished solo guitarist, and Ozzy Osbourne is Ozzy Osbourne.
No, it's something that Ozzy's been in the news for recently.
He's been on MTV. They've done a little soap opera for him,
The
haven't they?
Osbournes.
Yeah,
That's
right.
wicked.
Is it?
It's so sick.
Is it?
Yeah, it's voyeurism at its worst, but it's compulsive viewing.
Is this next year's
What
English
happens
syllabus?
in it? Yeah, probably. Absolutely.
Hang on, Osby Osborne, didn't he put his hands outside the Chinese Theatre or something in the Hall of Fame? Something to do with the Hall of Fame. Hang on.
No, I was about to say, no. It does relate to something that only Charlotte of us here has ever done.
Oh, they've all met the American president.
Yes, because George Bush recently met Ozzy Osbourne, didn't he? And obviously Tony
Did
Blair.
he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Tony Blair's obviously met him, and Peter Frampton hasn't met him.
Is the wrong answer. However, it is the right reason, but the wrong person. The answer is that they've all dined at the White House except Ozzy Osbourne, who has yet to take up George Bush's invitation.
Right.
He hasn't decided whether he's going to go or not.
He can't remember.
But yes, you've met Bill.
Yes. He was really, really lovely, very charismatic, very charming.
But didn't he have a big nose, didn't you say?
Yeah, he did have an unbelievably big nose where you had to kind of look around to see his eyes.
So yes, Blair has had dinner most recently, of course, at the White House with Bush, and Blair has apparently met 54 world leaders since September the 11th. That's almost as many as Charlotte, given that Charlotte's met George Bush and the Pope, and most impressive of all, Scylla. The answer is that they've all dined at the White House except Ozzy Osbourne, who is renowned for, amongst other things, urinating on the Alamo Monument, shooting his cats dead, and biting the heads off live doves on stage. He's been described by his wife as a paranoid psychotic and by Ariel Sharon as an amateur. Paul and Charlotte, your four odd ones, need no introduction other than to say they sound like this.
Okay, so that's Handel, obviously, Wagner. The third one, I don't know. Is that Eric Coates?
Is it 633 Squadron?
It is Eric Coates, but it isn't 633
Dam
Squadron.
Busters?
Yes, very good.
And
on
the
our
fourth
war
one
themes.
was what is? Oh,
Can
it's
we hear it again?
Carcaturian. Saber's Dance by Dave Edmunds.
By Dave Edmunds, yes. Written for him by Kachachurian,
Yeah,
obviously.
Carcaturian. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. What do you want to know?
Ideally, the odd one out.
Where do you start? I mean, they all had a budgie called Simon. I mean, I don't know. You know, one of them
it's
married a woman
slightly-
who looked like a Cornish pasty.
That's
One of them's wearing a hat, one of them's wearing a wig, and the other one looks like Mo Molam. I don't know. What is it? Give us a clue.
right. It relates to an aforementioned foreigner.
I don't know, Sven. Oh, yes, he's picked... Ah, yes, right, OK,
Oh,
yes.
they're all on his classic
Yes,
CD.
he's picked it on his classic CD, apart from the Eric Coates one, which was the Dam Busters March, which he wasn't allowed to pick because it has German overtones, you know, dee-dee-dee, boom, boom, ah, for your Tommy, it's over, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Watch out, your Bobby, it's coming tomatoes. I just got to visit you, I tell you. Bouncing bomb, bouncing bomb, bouncing bomb. Richard Todd in the film, and that's what he said, drop that, so he's the odd one out because he's not on the disc.
Is the right answer.
Yes.
And what did they replace the Dam Busters theme with?
Was it the Desert Island one? Desert Island disc, Sailing By?
It was
Sleepy
called
Lagoon.
By the Sleepy Lagoon,
By the
yes.
Sleepy- that is the Desert Island disc, though, isn't it?
It is, yes. It's written by the same composer.
Eric
that's
Coates,
why.
that's right, yeah.
Eric Coates.
Yeah.
So who did Handel live next door to?
Jimi Hendrix.
Which is so impressive, I'm going to give you an extra point. Yes, that is the right answer. In what
Brook
way?
Street.
Brook Street, yes. Jimi Hendrix lived at 27 and Handel lived at number 25.
That's right.
Sven has apparently sent David Beckham a copy of the CD, and when Bex was asked what he thought about Kachachurian, he said they'd never been the same since Limahl left. In the sleeve notes of the CD, Sven says, "It's no good lying in your bed at night wondering whether you have made a right choice." Our final missing words round never ceases to be our last. A variety of headlines chosen for their rib-tickling ambiguity, including some or more from this week's guest publication, the highly acclaimed Biscuit and Cracker Baker. So, eyes down, look in on Wake Up, Mr. Blair, and Smell What?
The whiskey on his breath.
Cheery.
It's not Cherie. No.
The coffee.
Although I'm sure he does. The coffee is the nearest.
Le Café.
Le Café.
But Le Café is very good, yes.
well done.
This is a warning to Tony Blair to take note of the French electorate, who've overwhelmingly rejected condescension and arrogance. That's in other people, not themselves, obviously. Next, flaming what ruined everything?
Biscuit.
Moustache.
Flaming row.
Flaming soup.
No,
Petrol
something
soup.
you might put in a toaster.
Bread.
Toast.
You don't put toast in a toaster. Why would you put toast in a toaster?
Flaming
everything.
tart ruined everything. This is an American woman, in fact, who put a Kellogg's Pop-Tart into her Black & Decker toaster, drove her child to school and returned 20 minutes later to find her house was on fire.
She drove her child to school in a toaster? The woman's insane. We had a Breville, because we were a very poor family, we had a crossing with a Breville and a motor car.
Did you?
It used to come out at the end of the journey all crinkled down one side.
Next, E is for what?
Ken.
Ken.
Yeah.
I'll give you a clue. It's from the Daily Star.
E is for apple, then, if it's from the day.
E is for Elfie. I did tell you it's from the Daily Star. And finally, why are women what?
Always right.
The always bit is correct.
Yeah. Always late.
Always late is the right answer, yes. Slightly fewer people clapping than I noticed.
We'll be clapping in a few minutes.
Yes, these are... These are the results of a survey by Marks and Spencer's, finding that women only take 21 minutes to get ready. Results announced by a pig as it flew over the Oxford Street branch. Which Soiled Goods wraps up tonight's plot with this week's Shrivelled Turnips being Ian and Ben with 5, while this week's prize Swedes are Paul and Charlotte with 15. So nothing to our winners, a mug that looks rather like Ian Hislop to our losers, which was donated by one of the audience this evening.
Let's have a look. Does it look like Ian?
I think we'll take that as a yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I leave you with news that at a Washington function, disaster strikes as Bill Clinton chooses the wrong woman to goose. An exclusive picture shows how Prince Harry saw the Queen Mother's funeral. And in London, the happy Ulrika Johnson announces she may be pregnant. Good night.
Comedian Rich Hall guests in Have I Got 2002 for you next here on UK TV Documentary.